Hi, this is Denise Matthew, and welcome to another part of HT 101, How to Read Your Human Design Chart. I just wanted to let you know that if you wanted to slow down the speed of my voice, it's an easy thing to do. Just do it on the playback speed as I'm showing here, and it will be an experience tailor-made for you. Been following all along and you've gone through part 1 and part 2, I've talked a lot about the sacral center. And as far as the sacral center goes, I mean, this literally is the center that determines a type in human design. So, and because of that, it's going to be extremely important. We have talked a lot about the sacral energy. We have talked about being burnt out and running on other people's energy when we're talking about open centers and that kind of stuff. And it does really happen to be important when it comes to the sacral center, because you have almost 70% of the population that are generator types, which means they have a defined sacral or a constant battery of energy that they always have available whenever they need it. And then you have the undefined sacral energy people who are the projectors as well as the manifestors and also the reflectors. So because there's so much of this generator energy or this sacral energy and this battery that's just like an ever-ready battery that's always going, it's very easy for somebody who is a projector or somebody who is a manifestor or even a reflector to go on the energy of the sacral and to actually be out there trying to perform like a generator type, thinking that they have all this energy and that they'll always have it whenever they need it, not understanding that it's transient. This is transient energy that comes and goes based on every open center. So when we're talking about defined sacral, we're talking about all the center for workforce energy. This is for life force energy. This is for rearing children. This is for procreation. This is for all the things we do to continue on as a human race. So it's the most powerful of all motors in the human design system. So by every stretch of the imagination, the sacral center is going to have a huge impact on the world. So let's look a little bit more at the difference between the defined and the undefined sacrals. So when you have a defined sacral, you're always going to be a generator or a manifesting generator. So that means that you're going to have an infinite amount of battery energy, or you have as much energy as you need. The whole thing about when you have a defined sacral is, in order for you to get a good night's sleep, you need to burn that energy off. You need to be busy all day, do all the things you need to do. And then at the end of the day, that way you have a nice sleep, and then you wake up again and you have a brand new full battery ready to go again. There's always this constant supply of energy that's always ready to be burnt every day. Yes, there's absolutely a possibility that generator types can burn themselves out, and that's somebody who would be a generator type who has a will center or somebody with a 3420. There are ways that you can actually burn out your energy by overdoing it. So that doesn't mean that because you have this hugely powerful battery, this ability to have this endless amount of energy whenever you need it, that basically you are invincible. At the end of the day, we're all human and we need to honor that, and that will help with this whole burnout concept. So it can actually happen to generator types that they actually do get burnt out. But as far as burnout goes, it's probably a lot more common for somebody who is a manifestor or a projector to become burnt out. And that's because of this undefined sacral, where they're always taking all the energy in from all the generator types. And again, using the energy instead of allowing it to use you is a way that people with an open sacral can get through life, and get through life in a way that they don't have to be burnt out. If they continue to use the energy as though it's an endless supply and it's their supply and it's not a transient type of thing, burnout definitely can be a possibility, like I said, especially if somebody who has an open sacral has a will center, which is defined, which can push people to beyond their capability, beyond their limits, and then bang, before you know it, you have this whole burnout thing where you just can't even get out of bed in the morning. But knowing that the energy comes and then the energy goes, and to use the energy as you need to use it, and then understanding that you'll need rest afterwards when you have an open sacral, is the way that's going to make things work for you in a way that you're not going to burn yourself out, and you're using it the way it needs to be used. As far as sleep goes, somebody with an open sacral, it's better for you to go to bed before you actually feel tired. This all goes back to the concept of releasing all the energy that you picked up, the sacral energy that you picked up in the run of a day, and then once that's released, then you can actually settle in to go to bed. Now, there is a theory that if you are somebody who has an open sacral, it may be more difficult for you to sleep with somebody who has a defined sacral, because the battery energy is always revving you up, and you don't really have that ability to settle in. Whether that is a case or not, I mean, that's something everybody has to experiment with in their life and understand that everybody's set up different, and this may be the case for some people, and maybe it's not necessarily the case for others. Some people with open sacral find that certain transits that will define their sacral, the electromagnetics of the planets, or certain relationships can make them revved up and have more of this energy and more potential to get exhausted after it starts to dissipate, and not being able to sleep as they normally would, because they're not used to always having this energy buzzing along all the time, when that's not usually part of their design. So knowing what your energy is like and knowing how it can be used is the most important part of using the sacral in a way that is going to have you living your best life, and you're not burning yourself out, and you're getting to get done the things you want to get done. So again, it's about using the energy when you have it, using it for the things you need to use it for, and then taking the energy and understanding that, okay, this is it, I'm done with it. Now I have to have my rest, and I need to do what I need to do so that I'm always going to protect my energy so that I know that I'm not going to get burnt out. So let's talk briefly about the sacral gates, and we'll finish up this center. So when we're talking about the gate 34, we're talking about the gate of power, and this does come with a level of power, and it can be a lot about this power that you exude, or this feeling of people saying, wow, that person really has like a strong energy, or this presence about them. It does hook into the power and charisma, the 3420, and that would be considered the most powerful, probably one of the most powerful channels in human design. The gate 27 is all about caring. This hooks into the gate 50, and this is part of the tribal or the defense circuit, and it really is about this concept of caring for your family, taking care of your kids, taking care of your whoever matters to you. There could be a lot of health professionals who have this kind of energy. The one thing about this energy is this can be a codependent energy, and it is about caring for yourself as much as it's caring for everybody else. The gate 42 is all about the closer. This is the energy that comes in and finishes off a project that started. It's a cyclical energy and hooks in with the gate 53 that is in the root. The gate 53 is all about beginnings, and the gate 42 is all about closing it out, shifting into a new energy, shifting into a new cycle. The thing about this energy is if you only have one of these gates, or you have two of the gates of 53, 42, remember that everything comes in cycles, and that if you want to take on a new project, or do something new, or close something, everything that you do comes in a cycle, and it's like being on a treadmill, and you don't get off that treadmill, or you don't get out of that cycle until that program stops. So it's something to keep in mind. The gate 3 is difficult in the beginning. This is all about mutative energy and bringing new and innovative ideas into the collective, or into the world. It's an individual energy, so it is about this individual need to bring something new into the world. And if you can imagine that gate 3 is all about a seed, and you need all the perfect conditions for that seed to sprout and that seed to sort of take root and grow. So that's what it means when it's difficult in the beginning. It has to have all the right circumstances for something new to be brought into the world. The gate 9 is focus on detail, and it is about having this real hyper focus on a lot of things. You can see all the small details sometimes, but you don't see the big picture if this is only a hanging gate on its own. So there could be an imbalance between hyper focusing on things but not seeing the big picture of things. Sometimes people say that this energy is connected to ADHD or attention deficit, but if anything, it's attention hyper focus, and it's hyper attention. So at the cost of the rest of the world, you focus on something that may not be necessarily what you're meant to look at. Like if you're in school and you're meant to look at what the teacher's talking about, and you're looking outside, then that could be considered something where you're not focusing, but you actually are focusing, but you're focusing on what people might consider the wrong thing. And so there is some great amount of energy here where you can actually do a lot of work on changing things. A lot of athletes have this energy too, because they're able to focus on all the little things that change their strategy or change the way they shoot a ball or the way they do their sports. So there is a lot of positive energy in here as long as you can learn how to use the energy. The gate 59 is all about intimacy and breaking barriers. This is about tribal energy as well, and it's part of the defense circuit. It is about meeting and coming together to procreate, to have children. It's not necessarily taking care of the children, but it is the intimacy that comes before that. But you can also have this energy of breaking barriers and showing people that they're not as different as they seem to think they are. This intimacy could, it doesn't always have to be sexual. It could be for projects, for partnerships, or things that you need to get together to, put your heads together so you can bring something out of it. Gate 29 is all about devotion, and it is about transmitting or transforming energy from a lower level to a higher level. It can do that. There is this level of having to have a good passion or a passionate belief or a passion for something you're going to do. So if you have a career, then having a passion to have that, do that career, to do that thing you want to do, makes it all the more beneficial and it all the more successful, because the passion is something that sort of flicks on a switch and it brings this natural sense of luck and being at the right place at the right time, and this perseverance and this commitment and being able to get something done, or having the endurance to get to the end of the line and continue on with it until you reach the goals that you've set for yourself. The gate 14 is all about natural luck. Anybody who carries this energy is generally somebody who has more opportunity to win the lottery or have lucky events happen or things out of the blue. But again, you have to remember that it connects to the gate 2, and that's all about magnetic monopole. So you can imagine that the luck is related to the love of how you feel about yourself. We did talk about the identity center or the G center, and so the luck can be connected to this whole concept of who you are and how you feel about yourself. The luck can come with the idea of making money, but if it doesn't have the connection to the gate 2, there could be this energy of spending more money than you actually make. So you can always make the money, but you may spend more than you actually have. There is an ability to collect a lot of things, have a lot of things that just kind of show up in your world, that you have a lot of possessions that have value. And that is everything for the sacral center.